Jack, I gave what I think was my impression of seeing the materials about Augur, but why don't you sort of give us the 30,000-foot view and what problem Augur is trying to solve?
Sure. So Augur is it's a prediction market platform, and it's decentralized in the same way that Bitcoin is decentralized. There's a lot of different ways that things can be decentralized. Bitcoin it's decentralized to make it very resilient. Mm-hmm. So it's this idea where everybody has a full copy of everything that happens on Bitcoin, and so it's a very resilient network. If you say knock out one node on the Bitcoin network, the rest of the network can still thrive. But now Bitcoin is it's a very cool technology, but it's designed just to send these, to send Bitcoins between users. All you're doing is sending payments. And what we're doing is we're building software that operates on this same principle where everybody has a copy of everything, and it's this very robust, very resilient network. But we're including all of the machinery that you need to make markets, to make prediction markets. And what these are they're markets where you can bet on whether or not things will happen. So, and these can really be any kind of event. So one of the use cases that people like to use prediction markets for is political events. So, for example, you can bet on whether or not Hillary Clinton will be elected in 2016. But this extends to any kind of event. So a prediction market is, it's a very general idea. So, another example might be, well, who's going to win the Georgia-Florida game? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Well, how much rain will there be next year? And then the cool thing about this is that the price of the price of a share in a prediction market, it tells you how likely the event is to happen. So if the event ends up happening, so say we're betting whether or not Hillary Clinton wins the election. If Hillary Clinton ends up being elected, then the market closes at $1 per share. And if she loses the election, then it's $0 per share. And if the event hasn't happened yet, if the election hasn't happened yet, then the amount that you pay per share is the probability that the event happened. So if, for example, it's if it's 42 cents per share, then that means that there's a 42% chance that she would win the election. It's sort of the crowdsourced aggregate best estimate.
And so why does a prediction market work better like this with actual dollars involved than just simply taking numerous polls, which is clearly what most people do these days?
No, it's a good question. So prediction markets work well because, so I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of the wisdom of the crowd. And what this is the idea that if you ask a large number of people a question, and they have some incentive to try and answer correctly. It could be a cash prize. It could be placing a bet. And then you have some way of aggregating those estimates. As long as they're all answering independently and they're trying to do a good job, people tend to make errors in sort of random directions. Like you can imagine, maybe you're trying to guess, what the temperature will be tomorrow. Everybody, you ask 100 people. Well, they're not all going to get it right on, but they tend to over and undershoot it by about the same amount. And so, in the aggregate, the estimate, the average estimate, ends up being very accurate, sort of uncannily accurate in some cases.
And so why does adding a financial incentive make this better?
Oh, well, it's so that people really care about it. Because if you're, you can imagine if you're asking, if you're just polling people about, who do you think is going to win the election, there's not really an incentive to go and like do research and build a statistical model, make sure you're doing a really good job, and in fact, there can be an incentive to do sort of the opposite thing, which is just, I'm a Democrat and I just want to show for my guy, or show for my girl in this case, and that's I think a lot of people actually do that, and and they have they tend not to do that nearly as much when they have money at stake. So you might think, well, okay, I'm just gonna say, well, I think Hillary will win, just because I like her. But that's, I would be a lot less inclined to do that if I had, say, $10,000 at stake, if I didn't really think she was going to win.
Oh, so this is the difference between asking 100 of your friends who's going to win versus asking 100 of your friends that are willing to put up their actual real money at stake. Who's going to win?
That's right. You have to kind of put your money where your mouth is.